Welcome to Newby Hall in North Yorkshire. I am so excited to be here and to be able to share it with all of you. This is the most glorious Grade 1 listed home, and it really is a home and not a museum. It also has extraordinary interiors by Robert Adam, and the entrance hall that we're standing in is a prime example of that. This is the home of Lord and Lady Compton, Richard and Lucinda. We've been staying with them whilst we're making this video, and also to see the opening of their new rock garden, which I'll show you in another video as well. But stay with us if you want a tour of these glorious interiors. I'm so excited to show you all around the house, and we have someone very special to show us around, Ron, who is an absolute expert on Newby Hall.
You mentioned Richard and Lucinda, the family that live here, and they've been here since 1748, so they're getting on a bit now. The same family have lived here since 1748. The name's changed 2 or 3 times because on one occasion it goes to a cousin, and on 2 occasions it goes down the female line. There's been an estate here at Newby since the 1300s, but we won't go that far back. Bring you up to 1676, when the estate was purchased by a gentleman called Tredward Blackett. He made lots of money from coal mining, lead mining, shipping and shipbuilding. But he became a Member of Parliament for Ripon. And as you know, all MPs like to have a nice house in their constituency. So Sir Edward came here. When he arrived here, this house wasn't here. There was a Tudor manor house down by the river. Problem was, most of the time it was in the river, because that river floods quite badly in the winter. So he needed to build himself a new house on higher ground. And this is the house that he built. Used a design by Sir Christopher Wren. Now, there's no evidence that Sir Christopher ever came to site. He was quite busy building a little church in London at the time, but he employed a local architect, John Etty, to oversee the works on site for him. But there are some Wren innovations in this house, like sash windows, invented by Sir Christopher Wren in the King's Workshops in London. This was the first house in the north of England to have sash windows.
No.
Probably the first house in the whole country to open all the way around the house, every window. And we had piped water into the kitchens in the basement here. So it was a very modern house, and it was a very expensive house. Cost £35,000 to build. But as often happens, Dad made all the money, the children, the grandchildren spent it all. So by the time we get to the 3rd generation of Blackett's, they'd run out of money. So they had to sell the estate. Measure of desperation, sold the whole estate for £9,530.
And they spent £35,000 on building it?
Yes. So it's not just that £35,000 house, but thousands of acres, several farms, 2 villages, all went for this knocked down price. And that's the only time in the history of the house it's ever been sold, just at once, and that was in 1748.
To a very lucky family.
A very lucky family. His name was Richard Weddell, and he was a merchant. He made money from importing spices into this country. Now, when Richard died, his only surviving son inherited William.
I'm really excited that we've got on to William. I think my favourite of the Compton ancestors that we've heard about, because he went on the Grand Tour, which was so fashionable in those days. He spent 2 whole years going around all of Europe, learning about the history and the architecture and shopping, because that's what people did back then. If they could, they went for the culture, and they went to bring back treasures for their homes back in England. And boy, did he bring back treasures. He brought crate loads of statues back that we will see later on. He also brought paintings, and maybe more importantly, whilst he was in Italy, he met a young man called Robert Adam. And it's because of that meeting that he asked Adam to come here and to completely redecorate and redesign this home. Adam was working with Chippendale, so all at the same time. The home was remodeled, designed as it was, with the furniture that we see today. We're standing in a room where the ceiling, the plasterwork, the paintings, the furniture, even the floor were all part of the original decorative scheme. So we have beautiful cobweb-backed chairs by Chippendale, and the cobweb design on the back of the chair is echoed in the centre of the marble floor. We have extraordinary stucco work, and if you look at it, you can see that it's armour, but of course Roman armour, because that was the fashion at the time. That's why people were flooding to Italy to see the Roman ruins. There was this new interest in classicism. If you come over to look at this table, you can see that it's got that same Roman armour, that you see in the plasterwork. Plasterwork that was finished in 1771, as it very helpfully tells us on one of the lances. And the family even think that the colours of the entire room were taken from this table. These beautiful blues in the dolphins, the pinks, the apricots, they're the same colours that you see on the walls and in the ceiling. And if we go closely up to those carvings, you can see Robert Adams' signature ram's head amongst them.
Chippendale made all the doors Cuban mahogany. And if you put 2 doors on that wall, you've got to put 2 doors on that wall and 2 doors on that wall. These 2 go through to shallow cupboards. This one doesn't work at all. There's a brick wall behind it.
Do you know, I'm glad to see this because this is something that Philip does. He's putting doors that go to nowhere just to get symmetry in the house.
Yeah, Robert Adam, reincarnation of Robert Adam. Yeah, so there's a very expensive Chippendale door, a brick wall. On the other side of it is another very expensive Chippendale door. But it has to be there because that one's there. The paintings came back from the Grand Tour. This is a 17th century painting by a German artist, Philipp Peter Roos. Now, he's a German artist painting in Rome. He was finding it quite difficult to sell his paintings, not getting a lot of success, until he discovered it was much more fashionable and much more commercial to be Italian than it was to be German. So he changed his name to Rosa di Tivoli.
I love it.
Paintings. And it worked. He started selling these paintings. He liked to put expressions on the animals' faces. You can see these rather grumpy sheep here.
That's a grumpy bull in the background, definitely. Very docile cow.
The other painting in the room is by an Italian. That's a 16th century painting by Alabali Carracci. St. Margaret pointing to the heaven with a hand on the Bible. It's always been a dark painting. It's got a bit darker over the years because that fire's lit in the winter and she's got a bit smoked. The important thing to mention is this is not a museum. This is a lived-in house. All the rooms that we look at today are used regularly by the family and their guests when they come.
What a spectacular, my goodness, audible intake of breath from Philip as he walks into the dining room.
Amazing. Now, this was a single-storey extension. The original house ended at that wall. When William Weddell died in April 1792, he had no children, so the estate passed to his cousin. His cousin was Thomas Robinson. He had a title. He was the third Lord Grantham, and he built himself a new dining room. Now, when the third Lord Grantham came here, he brought his family pictures. This is Grandad. This is the first Lord Grantham. He was an ambassador. He was ambassador to the court of Maria Theresa in Austria. There she is. Formidable woman.
My goodness, he was with her. That.
He was with her for 16 years. Our most famous child was Marie Antoinette, who went for an appointment with Madame Guillotine. The first Lord Grantham's 6 children were all born in Austria. They're there. And his wife, Frances Worsley of Hovingham in North Yorkshire, she's an ancestor of the late Duchess of Kent, who died last year. And that's third Lord Grantham's father. He's the second Lord Grantham. He was also an ambassador, but he was ambassador to the court in Madrid. But he became the first ever foreign secretary to this country. And it was his job to draw up the Treaty of Independence for the American colonies. And George III never forgave him, said he'd given away America. But I don't think he had a lot of choice. I think they're going to take it anyway.
Lord Grantham is a title that will be familiar to a lot of people.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's got a daughter called Lady Mary.
Downton Abbey took a lot of inspiration from Newby Hall.
Yeah, I think Julian Fellows, who writes that series, decided to pinch some of the names from Richard's family to put in his show. Also the location, because Downton Abbey is set just here. Now we know that for certain, because the last episode of the last series, Mr. Mosley, who was a footman, became a school teacher, and he asked one of the boys at school, "What does your dad do for a living?" He said, "He's a gardener at Skelton." Skelton's a village at the end of the drive. So we know that Downton Abbey's supposed to be in. Not filmed here, not quite grand enough, but it's filmed at Highclere Castle in Berkshire. We've had lots of filming here, though. Peaky Blinders, Gentleman Jack, ABC Murders.
We haven't watched Peaky Blinders yet, but we're going to be looking out for that.
I was there about 4 years ago, and Queen Victoria jumped out of a chair just over there and threw a glass of wine over Prince Albert over there. They were filming the ITV show of Victoria with Gemma Coleman.
I loved it. That was great.
And she got really angry because about something to do with bringing up young Bertie. So she jumped out of the chair, threw some wine over him, In fact, she did it several times. She couldn't get it right the first time. And the director said, go again. And poor old Albert was played by Tom Hughes. He was dripping with Ribena. Thankfully, they want Satin Mile chairs. They brought their own chairs.
Obviously, this is your favourite room.
Definitely. Well, I think contents-wise, like, by no doubt, I love this mice and dessert service. I am so passionate about bringing them back into modern-day use, because why have they fallen out of favour? I don't know. I think they're wonderful. Like, for example, this one, got this beautiful Davenport dessert service. It was probably made for this room, early 19th century, and you've got 2 cream boats. Now, they're often mistaken for gravy boats, but that's not what they're for. They were designed for cream to have with fruit. And that was a very popular 19th century dessert. This is just lovely. It's hand-painted. It's the birds of Africa. And what I love is they are all marked, isn't it lovely, on the reverse with...
Hoopoo of Egypt.
There we go.
And where's this hoopoo from?
Common hoopoo.
Just the bog standard.
Just the common one.
A bog standard variety of hoopoo.
But isn't this lovely? You've got all these pieces. Oh yeah, this is a compote, you can see. It's quite deep at the back.
And you could serve your fruit or your strawberries in that.
And especially in the 19th century, they made cutlery and things like that, especially for all the different functions. You had to have a strawberry spoon, for example, to serve your strawberries, obviously, because you can't do it with a normal spoon. But here as well, you can see that they were so popular that they kept making them to reflect the latest fashions. And here, you can clearly see an influence from all the excavations at Pompeii and Herculaneum. We don't just see reflected in terms of the way that the colours are used and things like that, but also the shapes. I mean, it's quite Roman, the shape of the queen boat.
It really is. It looks so beautiful in this room and very unusual. I haven't seen another one like it.
Now I'm going to start looking at auction.
Don't you dare, fella.
And with all these beautiful things that they made, they all had to be multi-purpose, or most things, unlike the strawberry spoon. So you've got this little thing, this little cap, very pretty. You can have 2 candles in it, and then it looks very smart.
It looks complete.
Yeah, the little urn, but you can take it off, and instead have 3 candles. And this one as well, you can turn it into a single candlestick.
It is ingenious.
Isn't it wonderful?
And take that up to bed with you. A bit of reading in the evening.
When coming into the dining room, one of the first things you'll see are these 2 fantastic urns by Chateau the Younger. Again, they're not just beautiful, they're also useful, because the urns themselves have got a lead lining in it, so it means you can use them as champagne coolers, which is fantastic. And actually the pedestals, this one is lead lined as well for more bottles of wine, whilst the other side is zinc lined to warm your plates.
No!
Isn't that fantastic?
So you've got a plate warmer and a drinks cooler hidden in the room in these beautiful pedestals.
I think we need some.
Everything was modular and useful.
absolutely.
Had a purpose
Useful
back
and
then.
useful.
And can you imagine how these would look with just little tops of champagne bottles just sticking out?
Fantastic. Or even a plant as well.
No, the champagne, Philip. Come on, champagne.
They drank a lot of wine in this room. The lamps are alabaster lamps, designed by Robert, and the bases were made by Chippendale Senior. They would have had about 6 candles in them. They've obviously got the electric light now.
That glow is wonderful.
Yeah. The chairs, the side chairs, are Chippendale Senior. Now this table will extend to almost to the length of this room. We can put 24 Chippendale chairs around it and it looks quite impressive when it's laid for 24 people and frequently used that way.
What I love are the glasses. These are early Waterford. They're very, very heavy, but they're like pieces of sculpture. It's architecture on the table. This one really does remind me of the steeple of a cathedral. Look at the way it catches the light. It's a living home, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
used.
Christmas.
What a joy.
Yeah. Now this was where Gentleman Jack was filmed. Saran Jones, who was playing Gentleman Jack, she came racing up the drive in her carriage, really angry, because her friend was marrying a man in here. And she came through that door, caused all sorts of trouble in here.
Lady Compton, Lucinda, is about to come and join us to talk to us about something very exciting in this room, because she is uniquely qualified to be the owner of this home. Not only is she an extraordinarily talented gardener, but she's a conservator, and she spent several years restoring this extraordinary piece of furniture that she's going to tell us about.
So I've trained as a furniture restorer, and I specialise in lacquer, gilding, decorative furniture, painted things, papier-mâché, toll, decorative surfaces. This cabinet is always been at Newby. It's from about 1710, and it's what we would call faux coromandel, or japanning. So it's trying to look like a Chinese coromandel lacquer cabinet, where they built up layers of lacquer, carved it out, and then touched in with gold and pigments. But this is actually made of gesso onto wood, not lacquer, and then it's carved out and painted and gilded. When we open it inside, it's got all the drawers.
Lavish, and the colours are so rich.
The colours are so beautiful, and it's got a lot of charm. I think I really love it. We started making these things in Europe because, we couldn't get enough of the Chinese, and they were very, very expensive. Sometimes the early ones looked a bit naive or maybe a little bit European, but nowadays this would be the same value as a Chinese one of the same date. So this, when I took it into the studio, it had huge cracks down the doors. You can probably just still see. There was quite a bit of overpainting. Where the cracks were, they'd painted butterflies and insects over the top to try and disguise them. And the same on the far side. And I don't do cabinet work, I do the surface work. So I got a friend of mine to push those doors together, to clap them and to refit them. There were a lot of hinges missing, so I had new ones made. And then cleaned it all over, filled all the losses, put back the decoration where it's missing.
How long did the entire thing take?
Well, don't ask Richard. I think it was in the studio on and off for probably 15, 20 years, probably, I'm afraid. But that wasn't how long it would take. If I'd been doing it for a client, and I'd done it straight with one person, that would have probably taken maybe 3 months or something.
What an enormous amount of work. But it's perfect now. And my goodness, it's so worth it.
It is. It's a lovely piece, isn't it? I'm really, really glad to have it back in the house.
These marble columns are also really special. They're made of a very, very rare Italian marble.
It was really popular in Roman times, and you see it very occasionally at archaeological sites, but not very often. We don't know for sure what date these columns were cut, but they could easily be Roman. The capitals and the bases are 18th century, and these were brought by Weddell on his grand tour. He brought 82 old master paintings, 19 crates of sculpture, obviously, books and the tapestries.
I can see the poshest room in the house now.
Oh, yes.
It's very French.
Gobelin tapestries.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, we feel very at home. I mean, our home's nothing like this, but just the French part.
Yeah. But this is probably the only room in the house that the family don't use on a regular basis. I mean, they come in here and look at it all the time, but they don't come in here and sit. But in William Weddell's time, if you come for dinner, you'd probably be the first room you'd be shown into. You'd come in here, meet your fellow guests, have a couple of drinks before heading off to what was originally the dining room on the other side, the ante-room here. Now, these tapestries were ordered on the Grand Tour. They took 6 years to make. They come from the Gobelin factory just south of Paris, dedicated to the loves of the gods by Rococo artist Francois Bouget. And they are unique. They're the only set of tapestries of the period that are still in the room for which they were made, and still with the family who paid for them.
And the colours are still so vibrant.
Yes.
Well, I don't think this room's ever seen the light of day. There's always been the blinds pulled. The furniture is also unique. It's the only set of Chippendale chairs in the world with their original upholstery. They're known as the Newby chairs. Lucinda restored a lot of these chairs, or if not all of them. A lot of these sashes at the bottom were missing, so she had to replace those. I mean, there's chairs, actually, they're beautiful chairs, but if you sat on them and put your legs underneath, you'd stab yourself in the back of the leg.
Yeah, you can imagine they'd be knocked off all the time, wouldn't they?
But they are beautiful chairs. The carpet was designed by Robert Adam. That's been down there 250 years. This room's absolutely teeming with Chippendale. There's Chippendale everywhere in this room, the pelmets. Even the beading around the tapestries made in Chippendale's workshops in St Martin's Lane. The candelabras on the mantelpiece there, they were carved in Chippendale's workshop.
I love them.
They wouldn't have been there in the 1770s so close to the tapestries. They've probably been in front of the mirrors. The mirrors are French. We were unable to make such large pieces of glass in this country in the 18th century, but the French could do it. Well, we're pretty good at transport. We got them back in one piece. And how they did that, apparently, is they loaded them aboard ship and surrounded them with acorns. It's a bit like bubble wrap, so the ship could move and they would drop gently.
It's ingenious.
Get back there.
Really clever.
And the tables are French.
Yeah.
The tables, the tapestries. It's almost like we're stepping back into France. But I must say that however glorious this room is, and as you say, it's the poshest room in the house, I love the lived-in rooms more because I love to see rooms that are alive and enjoyed.
Okay, should we go and see one of those?
Oh, let's do it. What a room. Now, the dining room might have been Philip's favourite room, but this is my favourite room, the library. Though, of course, this was the original dining room. As we heard earlier, Lord Grantham, who was rather a great architect in his own right, decided that he wanted to use the best room in the house because it has the most glorious view down to the river and stunning light to house his extraordinarily large collection of books. He felt that a dining room was a room that you were in maybe for big dinners in the evenings, but you didn't need to have the best view all day long. He wanted his study to be in the best spot, surrounded by his favourite possessions, his books. So he built the entire other wing that we've already been to house the new dining room. And you can see here that there is still the same alabaster lamp, actually it's behind the beautiful flowers. There's the same alabaster lamp that we saw in the dining room. And there are other clues in this room that tell us it was originally a dining room. And those we can see in the paintings and on the mantelpiece itself. You'll see Bacchus, god of revelry and wine. And just in case you didn't know at first glance of his features, he has grapevines and grapes themselves woven through his hair.
It's all about eating and drinking and having a jolly good time. Over the fireplace is the goddess Ceres, the goddess of the harvest or the crops, where we get the word cereal from. We've got Bacchus in the centre of the ceiling on his chariot with Ariadne.
Yes, and you can even see that around Bacchus's revelry, there are vine leaves again, twisting around the entire scene.
Now, the old jacket there, that belonged to Richard's grandfather, Major Edward Compton. He was the first gentleman to open the house to the public in the 1950s. And it was just the tapestry room, this one and the next one we're going to go into. And there were no ropes, you could just wander around. Visitors could just wander around. And he'd sit here doing his garden designs. He's the man that's responsible for the way the gardens are laid out now.
Wonderful.
And he'd sit there and people would mill around. He'd say, "Don't mind me, I just live here." Richard was very fond of his grandfather, so he's left his old gardening jacket there.
And not only is his jacket here, there is always a gin and tonic laid out for him in his memory. This is such a typical Robert Adam room. There are these extraordinary columns with the Corinthian capitals. There are the friezes. There's the magnificent ceiling. And you can even see griffins up in the friezes and urns shaped very much like the dessert dishes that we were looking at in the dining room. The cream boats, you can see the inspiration coming from the Roman world. And what Robert Adam built here was effectively a temple to the pleasures of the body, a dining room, which was then turned into a temple for the pleasures of the mind, a library, both of which I love.
In William Weddell's time, it was a dining room, and dinner was a big event. But what William would like you to do, because he had a bit more showing off to do, to show his visitors what he's brought back from Rome.
Oh, wow.
This is the wing that was going to be an orangery, never became an orangery, because William collected so many statues on the Grand Tour. He asked Rob Adam to design a statue gallery on, designed more or less in the shape of a Roman temple with two cube rooms and a circular dining room. There's some 1st and 2nd century statues here. This is the oldest and I think the most beautiful. She's 1st century BC.
So he wasn't bringing copies back from the Grand Tour?
Some of them were cobbled together in Herculaneum and Pompeii. They found a torso over there and an arm over there and a leg over there, sometimes stuck them together. And occasionally you get, with Priapus there, his arms are too long, his feet are too small. But most of them are intact. And each of these rooms represent a different time in a young man's life. This first room represents the start of life and the decisions a young man must take at the start of his life. There's a young man, and he has to decide whether he's going to take up learning as Epicurus, where he's going to have a military career as Hercules, where he's going to have a glass of wine or two, there's Bacchus again, or where he's going to chase the girls around. So that's the start of life. The middle room is all about the middle of life and the power and the knowledge that a young man must obtain by the time he reaches his middle years. So representing power in this room, we've got some Roman emperors. This is Septimus Severus, a Roman emperor. He was born in North Africa, died and buried in York. He ruled jointly with his son, Caracalla, not such a nice man.
He doesn't look it, does he?
He doesn't look like a nice man, no. And we got the Roman emperor who was a bit nuts, a bit crazy, Caligula, better known as Little Boots. He promoted his horse to be a senator. But representing knowledge, of course, we've got a lady called Athena. And she's the goddess of wisdom. She's got the baby owl in her hand. But she's not that wise because she's also the goddess of war. That's why she's got the spear in her. And the last room is all about the end of life. Largest piece of marble that William brought back from the ground tour. Some say it's a Roman bath, others say it's a sarcophagus.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want a lid on your bath, would you really?
Perhaps. It's a Roman bath masquerading as a sarcophagus. It's a 4th century Roman bath and 18th century.
Let's hope so.
When I came here 17 years ago, there was a label on it saying it was a Roman bath. But we found out how William came by all these statues. He bought them off a dealer in Rome, a Welshman called Thomas Jenkins.
It's unimaginable to have this in a private home. I can't grasp it. It's so beautiful. It's good for the soul. Imagine being able to just come and sit in here, contemplate the world and life choices.
We've got the William and Mary House Regency, as we're going to go into the Victorian part of the house.
Well, you can't miss the Victorian part, can you? My goodness. Wonderful. What a staircase.
This staircase leads to the billiard room. The billiard room was built in 1892 by Robert de Grey Viner, the grandson of the man that built the dining room. The wallpaper is early William Morris, the arts and craftsman, being gilded.
Was it gilded originally, or did they do that later?
So it's meant to look like leather.
Well, it fooled me. I thought it was.
The lamps come from gondolas in Venice.
No wonder I love them.
So next time you're in Venice, you haven't got a lamp on your boat, you know where it is. We got it here. And we've got two portraits of Richard and Lucinda here, painted by Russian artist Valery Gridnev. And as you can see, it's a very good likeness. Yeah.
Yes.
The other painting on the stairs is Third Lord Grantham. Became the first Earl de Grey when he inherited Rest Park in Bedfordshire. So he's got 3 estates. He gave this one to his daughter, Mary, Lady Mary, and we'll see her when we get to the billiard room. Now, this would have been the gentleman's rest room on the way to the billiard room. So they leave the dining room. They might want a comfort break on the way to the billiard room. Robert de Grey Viner, like lots of Victorians, was a great collector. And this is a collection of chamber pots.
Really, of all the things that he could have chosen. But a house like this must have had one in every bedroom.
Yeah.
It would have needed an awful lot.
I don't think the Georgians were big on plumbing.
This is hilarious. Francis, honour thy father and forget not the sorrows of thy mother. Why do you want to think of that every time you're peeing? I don't understand.
See the Copeland here, and then there's some Staffordshire.
Yes, the Aesop's fables.
Yes. And you know, I love the Bordeloos. Often when people buy them nowadays, they think it's a gravy, but it's not what that was used for. Whatever works for you.
Now, just there is an IOU from Charles II.
It's a long one.
Yes, he owes us some money.
Has he paid it back?
No. This gentleman, Sir Robert Viner, he was ancestor of the family, Lord Mayor of London, banker and a goldsmith. He made some very large loans to Charles II, amounting to £416,000, 13 shillings and a penny halfpenny. I don't know how much it's worth now, but probably 416 million. But in 1667, they had what they called the Great Exchange Stop paying anybody. So he never got paid. His creditors were pushing to make him bankrupt. But to save him from bankruptcy, the king, who was a friend of his, gave him that IOU. If you've got an IOU from the king, you can't be bankrupt.
Ah, So most billiard rooms are just the size, to be able to play billiards. This one takes it a little further, turns it into an entire sitting room.
Yep, this is where the lads would come after dinner, smoke their cigars, drink their brandies, perhaps play some billiards. That's the original table made by Thurston's of London. We've got the snug here with a raised platform so the men in the snug can see the game.
I think this has to be the most elaborate billiard table light that I have ever seen in my life. And what is even more ingenious is that they've made it look as though it's just hanging from glass. So it doesn't weigh anything. And the glass itself is ingenious because above it, there's a skylight in the roof so that there's light flooding through this stained glass, which appears to be effortlessly holding up this enormous contraption just to light the billiard table. And that's not all that's ingenious about this billiard table, because if you look underneath, it is heated. And that wasn't to heat the feet of the players. It's to keep the billiard table at a constant temperature so that it doesn't warp and it always remains perfectly flat.
We can see Lady Mary in here. Lady Mary, the lady that was given this house by her father, so she's a beautiful lady, looking like she's just stepped out of a Jane Austen novel. And it's truth universally acknowledged. A beautiful lady with a good fortune is in want of a handsome husband, and there he is, Henry Weiner. And in true Jane Austen style, they met at the Assembly Rooms in Bath.
Oh, how delightful. And he is very fetching.
Yeah, and it was love at first sight. She fancied him straight away. Now, we know that because we've read her diaries. She's not written, I fancied him straight away. It's something like...
But that's what she meant.
That's what she meant. A handsome man coming today, I hope I'll get introduced. But they must have been introduced. They had 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. Got a bit of a sad story now because the portrait in the black frame is Lady Mary's youngest, that's Frederick. Now, Frederick came down from Oxford. He wanted a nice holiday in Greece, went there with some very wealthy friends, and they decided on a picnic at the site of the Battle of Marathon. So they got a party together, including 2 ladies and a child. On the way back, they were crossing a bridge. They were attacked by brigands or bandits, taken hostage and held for ransom. The ransom was raised by Lady Mary and others, but never got to the brigands because they wanted more. They'd upped their demand. They wanted a free pardon, not just for themselves, but for other brigands that they held in custody at the time.
There's no way she could have given that.
It was a big diplomatic affair. There was questions asked in the house. Queen Victoria got very upset about it. Frederick, as the youngest in the party, he was asked if he could go and negotiate it, but he wanted to stay with the party. He was a very brave young man, and he was last to be killed. He was shot in the back trying to escape.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
So Lady Mary got a share of the ransom money back, plus some compensation, and she used that to build the church, which you may have seen as you came onto the estate, uniquely named the Church of Christ the Consoler, and built in Frederick's memory by the Victorian church architect William Burgess.
Oh, it's so sad. There are portraits of him all over this room.
Now, there you've got your Staffordshire pottery. We don't talk about that much because it's not a very nice subject matter. You've got ball baiting there at the front. We've got the Medici lion with the ball. They're quite nice, but...
They are wonderful figures, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very Ardmore.
Yeah.
It is. I know exactly what you mean. Do you know what this is? I'm sure many of you will know on looking at it. It's a baby walker. So there would have been a bit of fabric here attached to these bits so that the baby could sit astride and could walk around without falling over. Isn't it adorable? I'm not sure it's generally a room for babies though, more for smoking and billiards. Philip is obsessed with the fabric on this sofa. It's a William Morris fabric, but look, it has crewel work picking out the design. Everything here is beautiful. Everywhere you look, there's another detail that you could spend hours just sitting and staring at. Even the doorknobs in this room, I've never seen such elaborate, delicate ones. Look, it's a little cameo hiding the keyhole. They're spectacular. Look at the view as well, because we're seeing the beauty of the house everywhere, but there's fresh flowers everywhere, and beyond, from every window, you just see the most gorgeous landscapes. I found Julie. I didn't know who the other people were who were coming here for this, and Julie contacted me just as we were about to arrive, saying, "Oh, I'm already here at Newby, and you've been helping in the gardens."
I know. I need to get a green thumb. So when I arrived, and I can't believe that Lawrence didn't tell me this beforehand, but I love it that he didn't, because he said, "By the way, I don't know if you know Stephanie Jarvis." And I was like, yes, I do. And he said, she's coming as well. So immediately I texted you.
Yeah, and we were so excited because we last spoke while we were speaking during COVID.
Yes.
And we actually never got around to meeting.
No.
So we were very, very excited to meet.
We're really excited. And then we've just had such fun.
It has been great. And I've realised that I've been chatting away and I haven't introduced Julie because there's really no point. You all already know who she is.
It initially began as American Viscountess. I mean, that's how the channel started, was American Viscountess.
And then now it's American Countess.
We had to take off the 3 beginning letters. Sadly, my father-in-law passed away a year and a bit ago. And then once that happens, then you elevated, to the Earl and Countess of Sandwich.
So you're now the Countess of Sandwich.
I just go by Julie, though, everybody.
I think it's the best title, isn't it?
Probably the most well-known apart from the royal family, out of all the titles is the Earl of Sandwich, because we're all eating them every single day.
Which is my favourite food and probably most people's favourite food. So that's all because of your family.
Yes, it is. It's just sadly we didn't trademark the name. Well, the story that probably everybody's heard is that the 4th Earl of Sandwich was a big gambler and he didn't want to get his cards dirty, so he asked his butler to put, a piece of meat between 2 slices of bread. We don't believe that story. So he was head of the Admiralty 3 times, very involved in the War of Independence, aka Revolutionary War, and kind of the reason perhaps that the colonies, America, did win. But because he was a great politician and he was always at his desk, we believe that the story goes that he didn't want to get his political papers dirty. So he asked for that piece of meat to be put between 2 slices of bread.
But people love a salacious story. So
Absolutely.
No, that's
too sensible.
Too virtuous.
Exactly. It's far more interesting, the gambling one, isn't it? I mean, so much history in these houses, so many stories.
You are bringing those to everybody with your YouTube videos because you're going around all of these incredible homes in England. I mean, if you haven't seen Julie's channel, it's amazing what you do. Your 2 channels.
Yeah, because we've got obviously the more vloggy one, which is Mapperton, which is, a weekly episode, day in the life at Mapperton and running a historic house and sort of the highs and the lows of that. And then there's American Countess, where I travel up and down and around the country with a small crew. And we film sort of BBC style documentary, PBS. They've been compared to that. So, that not vloggy, sort of high quality production at historic houses. In the past, the archives would be related to, engravings and photos, of course, and letters. But what we want to do is create this digital archive for the current family owner custodians that are there now, caretakers, so that again, in 100 years from now, somebody can look back on those videos and say, wow, that was my great-grandmother or my great-grandfather, or, and look at what they did. So, for example, we're here for the reopening of the rock garden. That will be one of Lucinda's many legacies. And that's what these custodians owners are doing. They're making sure that not only are these preserved for future generations, but they're alive as well.
Which is, you sense it. As soon as you walk into this house, it is so alive. It is not a museum at all. At the moment, I'm filming a tour of this home. That's going out on the Chateau Diaries. But you're filming the behind the scenes, actually working on that rock garden, getting it ready for the launch.
Yes, exactly. And I think that has been, I love it that we've done both of these things, because then you can watch behind the scenes on Mapperton and you can watch obviously the wonderful tour and the incredible architecture and the gardens. Over on Chateau Diaries.
We better actually film then, because we've got very important work to do.
We have very important work to do. Anyway, also, I just want to say to everybody watching Chateau Diaries, I just want to end with, Stephanie has been hugely inspirational to Luke and I just want to put this out there. How genius of you to look at YouTube to say, right, I can create an international community of people who are interested in the highs and the lows and the restorations, etc., and bringing this community together. And they don't have to necessarily come to be physical visitors, because so many people can't. And that's why you are such an inspiration to us. And we were the first historic house to actually start our channel like that because of you.
I'm so excited.
So I just want to say to everybody out there, gosh, huge inspiration to me. Thank you.
Oh, well,
thank you.
Hopefully we'll continue to harness the power of all of this community spirit from around the world to make physical restorations in the real world.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
And here's to more collaborations, right?
Oh, yeah. I think we'll be seeing a lot more of each other. now we're popping back to the original part of the house.
This is a creaky corridor. Looks a bit like a Georgian burglar alarm. You can hear people moving about. We're going into a bathroom now. It was originally a dressing room, turned into a bathroom, I think, about 1900. It's got its original bath, original sink.
Oh,
It's
yes.
still used today. We've got a modern shaver point and a flush lavatory, but it's still used today. Got some nice prints in this room.
Oh, yes. Very voluptuous women.
Have you seen the one in the centre at the base?
Ah, yes, I see.
That's quite a sad story.
Really?
It's an old Roman story. The old man is in prison and he's being starved to death.
Oh.
And his daughter visits him and feeds him.
Oh, my goodness. Something to contemplate whilst in the bath. What a beautiful bedroom. Oh, my goodness. I cannot believe it. What a dream. Look at that bed.
This is the print bedroom, but it was originally known as the best lodging room. Not because he was going to open a bed and breakfast in William Weddell's time. It was because he put his most important guests in this room. And we think the reason he put his most important guests in this room could do a bit of showing off. So if you look out these windows, I own everything you can see out there. And he loved to do a bit of showing off. He wasn't shy about it. And these prints have been in the house hundreds of years, but they were put in this room by Richard's mother, Jane. And she put them in it, hung them in the traditional Victorian way on the rods and the chains. As we've already mentioned, she put more saucy ones in the bathroom. Not an accident, trend set by Queen Victoria.
Saucy prints in the bathroom. Victoria did that.
Yeah, she'd put it in Albert's bathroom. She put naughty pictures. The chairs, we think of Chippendale, they're painted chairs, beach painted chairs, green chairs.
It's a very happy room.
This room was a wedding present. Now, William Weddell was married in 1771. He married a very wealthy and very talented young lady from Huddersfield called Elizabeth Ramsden. And she was an artist. She studied with Sir Joshua Reynolds. In fact, she did the paintings on the wall, known as grotesque work. Grotesque from the grotto, not from the horrible. She wanted a circular room because it was very fashionable to have a circular room. So William had a square room turned into a circular room for her.
Who painted the ones at the top?
These paintings are by Antonio Zucchi, the husband of Angelica Kaufman.
Isn't it wonderful that everything previous owners have done is still here and it's so layered it's a true
Each generation
time.
seems to add a little bit more.
It's wonderful.
We've got some hidden doors here. These are known as gyp doors.
The doors lead. I mean, that can't be anything more than the cupboard.
Yeah, that goes through to a bathroom, which we'll see the bathroom in.
Oh, okay.
That's where we keep the Hoover.
I love it.
Open the bedroom.
Well, I was imagining the others to be less spectacular than the best guest room, but no,
Very high bed.
very high. I like a high bed because you can see out the window.
Some steps there to get into bed. Just have to be careful which side you get out in the morning.
Well, you haven't arrived in life, have you, when you're not having to climb stairs to get into your own bed?
For your mother and Percy.
Oh, they'd like that.
There's several different theories of why we have, or why they had such high beds. One is that the drafts. Keep them up the draft. Other people say it's because there was vermin in his house and they run over them. Or I know in Tudor times, they very often had a trolley bed underneath, which they could pull out and the servant would sleep at the bottom of the bed.
Quite clever.
Oh, goodness, look at this painting.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
that's-
Newby Hall?
As the house was originally finished in about 1690.
I love the wall lights. They're unbelievable.
Yes, I think Chippendale, made in Chippendale's workshops in St Martin's Lane, Covent Garden.
Good grief.
Beautiful.
Huge. They've got a full-on rockery. Well, actually here to visit the new rockery, so that seems very fitting.
Another gyp door.
They're everywhere, aren't they?
Now, originally, behind that one was a staircase that goes all the way down to the basement, where the servants' hall and the kitchens and the laundry. And it came out in the bathroom, or at that time a dressing room on the other side, but the middle section's been taken out to make room for the flower room downstairs. So we're going to go downstairs now.
What a staircase, my goodness. Now that is some grand staircase, isn't it?
It's a cantilever staircase. There's just a thin pole with it all locked in together. That's the man we've been talking about that did all this work here.
That went on the grand tour.
Yeah, that's painted on the grand tour by a very famous and very expensive artist, Pompei Bertoni. Now, everybody who's anybody on the grand tour would be painted by him. If they were a bit short of cash, they would just have their head and shoulders painted. If they had loads of money like William, they would have their arms and legs painted as well. We're told that's where we get the scent, costs an arm and a leg. I'm not quite sure about that.
Oh, I hope that's right. I love that.
So good, isn't it?
Ron has just described this side of the house as the not-so-posh side.
Yeah, because we're in the more domestic side.
Yes.
All's not what it seems. This is not marble. This
Really?
is wood, just painted to look like marble.
Oh, no way!
They've saved the marble for the posh end. We're not going to waste their money in the domestic side. This was originally William Weddell's dressing room.
What a beautiful room.
It's no longer a dressing room, it's a ladies' afternoon sitting room. Very pretty room. Some nice furniture in there by Chippendale the Younger, made from satin wood and purple heartwood. It's known as the ladies' boudoir. Boudoir from the French boudoir to sulk. Nice ladies' sulking room.
We all need one.
My wife's got the whole house. These paintings are interesting. They're by Angelica Kaufmann. She was a founder member of the Royal Academy. There were 47 founder members. Only 2 of them were ladies, but they were never allowed to attend meetings. They would leave a chair empty and put a portrait of them in the chair.
No, they wouldn't.
Rather than invite them to the meeting. And she put herself in these paintings. The lady in the white frock is Angelica Kaufmann. There was a programme on the BBC recently, a programme called Fake or Fortune with Fiona.
We love it. We always watch it.
Well, about 4 months ago, she was the subject. A lady in America, I think, had found a painting in a cupboard and her friend said it was worth about $200 or something. She sent it to Fake or Fortune and found out it was £74,000. We got loads of them. Now, this was originally William Weddell's library.
I was looking at books.
It's no longer a library, it's a withdrawing room. And this is the room that the ladies would withdraw to, leaving the men to their brandies and cigars and nuts or whatever they had, and come in here.
So this is if they weren't sulking, they could come to this room. If they were sulking, they had to go to the other.
Yeah. Very pretty ceiling. That's the original colours. That's how it was painted in the 1770s.
It's amazing because nowadays people just paint them white and think that that's what they were like, but they weren't.
Yeah. The painting over the fireplace may be familiar to you. It's Lady Theodosia Viner by Sir Thomas Lawrence. About 100 years or so after it was painted, it found itself on tins of Crawford's biscuits and boxes of chocolate. She's looking at her husband, Robert Viner. He's in fancy dress, by Angelica Kaufmann again. And my favourite painting in this room is The Head of a Girl. That's Angelica Kaufmann.
They're just beautiful.
Yeah. And that's a Carl Meinstein baby grand piano.
Oh, the marquetry on it. Oh, look at the painting. There are so many details. It will take a lifetime to see them all. Now we are coming, well, backstage. Whoa, this is incredible up here. I can't believe it. And you're taking us to the roof.
Yes, so we've got you go around the corner, there's a short staircase, it's quite steep, one at a time, please be careful. And then when we got up on the roof, it's obviously been raining, so it's a bit slippery, but the views are amazing, worth it.
I'm scared of this.
So this bit's really steep, and on the way back down, you can't see the ladder, so
Yeah.
you just have to feel with your foot, so please do take your time. And then we go up, and then there's a door where Alex is, and we head out.
Oh, wow. And the sun's come out just in time. Lawrence, this is gorgeous. Heading now up, wearing sensible shoes for once, thank goodness. Right, quite high up. Philip's gonna love this.
Oh, God.
Don't look, just focus on the steps. I bring you to all the best places, darling.
I bet I'm the first person ever to do this in clogs.
Round of applause. Woohoo! What a view. That is some precision mowing.
I love how the curves sort of get shallower.
He's doing it perfectly. I mean, never mind the view, we're mesmerised by the mowing. Okay, I've got this. I mean, this is the second time round, so what could possibly go wrong? Philip, I'm so proud of you. Oh, no, can't look that way. I'm balanced.
It was amazing, though.
I don't know how it is that somehow, being with me, you always end up in really precarious high places. At the end of the most glorious day of visiting this beautiful house and the mind-blowing gardens, I wasn't expecting there could be anything more, but a cherry has just been placed on top of the cake in the form of the bedroom that we're staying in tonight. We've just been told that it's the print room that we were filming earlier today, and when we were filming it, we had no idea that this was going to be our bedroom. We are going to be sleeping under that canopy. Nothing has ever made me feel more like a princess. And Philip and I will wake up to the most beautiful view in the morning of Newby's landscape parkland with the ha-ha and the sheep in the meadow beyond, and just a glimpse of the river behind them.
Did you do the flowers?
Yes.
No! Did you do all of that?
Yeah, well, not all of it, but yeah, most of it.
Oh my goodness!
Julie very kindly helped put some fun stuff on the table.
So you did this as well?
Okay, everybody, I did not do this. I went out with Lawrence and watched him cut. I was too nervous to cut anything here, and he just knew what he was doing. And then I said to Lawrence, I said, do you know how to flower arrange? Well, yes, kind of, whatever. And look at this.
And then you did that?
Yeah. So I came in today and I just time-lapsed them putting it together.
You are a genius, Lawrence. My God. Unbelievable. It is like stepping into Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? It's just...
Lobster, salmon,
And beef.
and beef.
All on the same
It's
plate.
basically, as we say in America, surf and turf.
I mean, look at these flowers.
Yeah.
And that shows you the dedication and touch that our head gardener has, because this is all of the flowers are from the garden, arranged by Lawrence. So thank you so much, Lawrence. Not just for this, but for all you do for us. It's just magnificent. The Country Houses Foundation, as it is about to be called, was responsible for kick-starting the restoration of this very building, this wonderful 18th century orangery, which Lucinda and I were so pleased to be able to restore. But the one thing that didn't work, which we didn't know about, was the sound. And it was only when we had our first sort of party in here, or it was a conference, I think, and nobody could hear a word anybody was saying. We then thought, we've got to do something about this. So what we've cleverly done, we think it's quite clever, this there and that end there have a polystyrene. And they're a photograph of what the ceiling is put into the ceiling. And so they absorb the sound together with that roundel in the middle. And it's made all the difference in the world. So I could hear everything you were saying, Zara. Yeah. I could hear everything Stephanie was saying. And I'm sure, Nicholas, you could hear even Lucinda. but that's all because it had changed, because of this polystyrene stuff that we put in, which is a photograph, and it's that deep, the polystyrene of the ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't tell.
You can't tell?
I'm looking at it and I can't tell at all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was a wonderful and very delicious evening, and I'm having a bit of a pinch yourself moment walking up to bed up this beautiful staircase.
The others are still downstairs. In fact, I can hear laughter coming from the drawing room, but I was on my way up to bed and I've stopped on the grand staircase and I've sat down here with my cup of tea instead of going straight to the room. And from where I'm sitting, I can see William Weddell, who brought all of those wonderful statues back on the grand tour, all of the tapestries, so many other beautiful things for this home. And I'm just looking at him here and thanking him, because if he hadn't gone on the grand tour, he wouldn't have created this beautiful place, this beautiful corner of the world that nearly 300 years later, I am sitting enjoying, and not just enjoying, but that I'm feeling has enriched my soul because of the time that I've spent here. He created something that had that effect on people hundreds of years after his death. And it's a vision that didn't end with him. And it's unbelievably rare for a historic home to be able to say that in today's age, after generations of the same family, it is only getting more beautiful. Newby is a very, very lucky house.